Previously, on the Idaho BDR. Starting this route 7 days prior, I knew that at some point our plans were going to go entirely out the window. I think that's just kind of the nature of these things. But at the same time, I don't think I had any idea just how extensive these problems were going to be. But hey, that's why you pack tools, right? I also gotta say, it's pretty remarkable that in just a 2-day layover, we were able to order parts, get them, install them, and get the bikes fixed enough to the point where we could hit the road again. Over the next 2 days, we continued on riding a couple hundred miles north, and with each day, we were getting closer and closer to the Magruder corridor. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with the Magruder corridor, it's essentially one of the most remote sections on this whole route, over 100 plus miles with no services of any kind. So in essence, whatever gas, food, parts, whatever you need, you gotta pack it in with you, because it won't be out there. The sun rising on the Magruder corridor marked the start of day 8 on our journey to Canada. And I was definitely pretty excited to see the sun come up. It was a pretty cold night and I really didn't get a whole lot of sleep. I know I've said it in previous videos, but I'm gonna say it again. If you're thinking about riding this route, do not underestimate the weather. You know, I rode this in August and I assumed it was gonna be warm, and that definitely wasn't the case. For the riding day ahead of us, we had some pretty big goals. For starters, we were planning on going over 100 plus dirt miles, which, if you've ever done it, you know it's pretty tough. And in addition to that, we also had plans to make it to the summit of another major peak on our route. Though it was definitely one of those mornings where it was everything I could do just to get up and make a cup of coffee and try and get warm somehow. So neither of us were really quick to get out of camp, which was probably not in our favor. Trying to get a fire going was virtually pointless. Everything we had was damp and really wouldn't take to a flame, and at that point the only thing we had to warm us up was the sun. Flashback to day 4 on this route, we had summited our very first peak at Trinity Mountain, and that experience laid the groundwork for understanding how our bikes would perform when we were going on rough terrain while we were laden down with 60 to 80 pounds worth of gear. And even though that I consider myself to be a relatively strong rider, when my bike is laden down with gear, it becomes a little bit more unpredictable, and it's a kind of riding style that I still need to adjust to. Despite the fact that Burnt Knob Lookout, the mountain that we were climbing now, was sitting at a lower elevation at its peak than Trinity Mountain was, they had a similar level of difficulty. But at the same time, it's really true. Everything worth doing in life is supposed to be a challenge.
For those of you that have made the journey,
I had these made custom for this trip. Please go ahead and take one of these. But do me a favor and don't be a dick and take all of them. I'd like it if more than one person got these. See if I can't find my GoPro. That's probably still filming down there. I have a feeling I kind of know where it's at. It's funny, I actually think coming down these rocks is easier than going up. By a long shot, too. Yeah, it's funny, just about all of these peaks I've tried to use my fork mounted camera, which is, it's good for short periods of time, because especially when I'm doing this kind of crazy stuff, it is definitely prone to being knocked off. I've had it ripped off of the fork twice now, so I guess I can't really say lesson learned, but at least I know that about it. I'm really hopeful I'll be able to find my camera, because it's like an expensive item. And it's got a lot of cool stuff on it too. I'd be kind of bummed out if I had to lose that. Haha! Oh! Let's see how the lens fared. Oh, look at that. The lens is actually just fine.
You're lucky at recovery.
It's dead, but that's 3 cameras I've recovered on these mountains. I gotta be somewhat lucky, I guess. Crazy how rocky this is. I mean, I know the camera is not going to do it justice once again, but oh, I'm surprised my gear is like not completely toppling off the sides of my Moscow bags. Whoa. That is what I'll call a successful summit. Made it all the way back down safely, which is nice. Now we carry on the route. In retrospect, I think I wish we spent more than just the one day to explore Magruder Corridor. It's such a unique area, and it just has such a wide variety of terrain and things to see, and various different places to camp out. I think spending more than just one day would have been a way better way to do it. But after considering the amount of delays that we've had to deal with, and the fact that we're still running on a time schedule, we really didn't have the luxury of being able to stay any longer than we did. So if you're looking to do the Idaho BDR, I would say if you're in the Magruder Corridor, take your time. Really see everything that's out there and explore every offshoot that you see going off the trail, check out different campgrounds. I know that there were multiple lookout towers aside from the one that we had gone to. I'd say check it all out, because there were definitely places that I saw just passing through that I wish I had time to stop at. Up next on the Idaho BDR.